Everybody to the first Hybrid Cloud Identity Protection Conference. Does that have a pronounceable acronym? What is it? HIPConf, there you go. So welcome to New York. My name is Gil Kirkpatrick. I am the CTO at VDS Identity Solutions, a small Australian software company. Some of you may know me as the founder of the DEC and Tech conferences from 15 years ago or so. I have to thank Mickey and Maytal and Darren and all of the rest of the guys at Paris for actually making the leap to make this conference happen. This is a giant pain in the ass to put on, I'll tell you. But we had so much fun at DEC, and there were so many people who wanted to get that same vibe together in a new conference. And Mickey actually made it happen. So if you could give it up for Mickey, I would really appreciate it, because that is an awesome accomplishment, and it is not easy. So one thing I want to clarify, this is not Son of DEC or DEC done again or anything like that. This is its own thing. But what I'm hoping is that for the HIPConf that we can take some of the things that we learned about DEC that made that conference so successful and apply it here. So I'm going to pester you a little bit with some thoughts from DEC and some requests for you. First off, I want to introduce, wow, what happened here? Let's try this again. Of course, this is exactly what would happen. We get it? No. It's the one. Hang on a second. There's the problem. Need duplicate? No? Let's try this.
Swap display settings.
Yeah, I'm going to do it again.
Escape.
So now we know it's an official conference because duplicate? You sure?
Try that.
Okay.
That's what we had before.
Yeah, here we go. Let's try again. Finally. All right, so let me introduce you to George. George is not the yellow guy. George is the guy with the big head in the middle. George was going to be a speaker here. He had a family emergency and was unable to attend. George was one of the key members of the DEC community, and is probably one of the most knowledgeable people I know, and also one of the best speakers for this kind of material. So our sympathies go out to him and his family. We have a lot of people here from the old DEC conferences, and I wanted to talk a little bit about why they're here and what made that conference so successful. So here's some thoughts that I will bring to you from our old DEC conference. One is that it's a non-zero-sum game. And in any conference setting, there are a lot of different communities that get together to share information. There's the speakers, there are the attendees, there are the sponsors, there are vendors who might be attending. If Microsoft is involved, it might be Microsoft. There are lots of different groups of people. And if you keep in your head that it's a non-zero-sum game, the idea is that everybody wins, everybody gets something out of the conference. It makes the whole conference much more accessible, much more useful, and a lot more fun. It's not you pay your money, you go sit down, you listen to some guys talk, and then you go home. I mean, you can think of it that way, but it just doesn't work if you think of it that way. So this is, in order to build a successful community, you have to keep this in your mind. It's a non-zero-sum game. All the different constituents need to win. Second thing is that networking is probably more important than the content. And this took me a couple of years to understand. So when Active Directory, we started the DEC conference shortly after Active Directory shipped, there literally was no documentation about how to run Active Directory. Today, anything that happens, you get documentation on the web almost instantaneously. Back then, there literally was no documentation available. So getting people together to talk about how to run large-scale Active Directory environments was an important thing. So the session content was kind of key for those first few conferences. But later, as the conference grew, and there was more documentation, and everybody sort of got how Active Directory worked, I learned that really the networking was the most important thing. So you'll sit down today and you'll hear very smart people talk about very important technical things, and it'll be interesting and useful, and I promise you, you'll go home with information that you can use. But the real knowledge and the real value is going to come from the networking that happens in between sessions and generally in the bar afterwards. So I want to encourage you to take advantage of that. That's where all the fun is, actually. That's where you'll form really good relationships and answer questions that you might otherwise not get answered. Third thing is, it's all about the people. Now, I'm sort of your classical introvert on the Myers-Briggs scale. I've been a software developer for most of my life, and it probably took me 30 years or so to really understand that it's not about the technology at all. It has nothing to do with the technology. It's about the people. We have some really, really good people here. A lot of them who will be speaking to you today, a lot of them who are just attending, but have lots of useful knowledge that you can take advantage of. One of the things, and Mickey, this is for you actually. One of the things that I've learned with DEC was the kind of speakers to recruit. And there's a class of speaker. There are guys who actually make a living going around to conferences and speaking about technology stuff. They either write blogs or they write magazine articles or they write books or whatever, and they speak a lot. They're professional speakers, so that's their main gig, is they go out and talk to people. And they're really, really good. They're very slick, very polished, and their presentations are pretty awesome. But I also found that those are not the kind of guys you can build communities around. The guys that are the best people to build communities around are the ones who actually are doing all the work. Every day they go to work and they solve technical problems. And they're interested in the technology enough that they'll come to a conference like this and talk about it. So the very best speakers I ever recruited were the ones who had never spoken before. But they had their hands, they were up to their elbows in servers and operating systems. And the reason it works is because they love to talk about the stuff that they're doing. It's not their job, it's what they really love to do. It's just a consequence of having their arms in the software all the time. So take advantage of that, because we've got really, really good people here. They are totally willing to help you out and form relationships. If you stick your hand up, I guarantee you will make 2 or 3 really, really important contacts for your business here at this conference. Okay, so those are the 3 observations I got for you. I have 3 requests. One is get out of your comfort zone and contribute. So when we started DEC, people didn't have smartphones. So today they do, and I've actually noticed a few people sitting there at the table, thumbing away at their phones. That's not what this is for. So put the phones away, find people around you and talk to them, see what they're up to, see where they work, what projects are they working on, what problems have they had recently. That's where the value of this conference comes from. Make new friends. So once you've reached out and talked to some people, I'm certain you will find guys who will become friends. There are probably a dozen people here that I've known for 15 years because of this conference. And we're still good friends. We see each other twice a year maybe, but they are still good friends and important colleagues for me. And finally, have fun. One of the best things about DEC is it was a lot of fun. We did a lot of goofy things at that conference. You noticed the chicken in front of George. That was sort of a theme for our conference. We had rubber chickens everywhere all the time. We had interesting games like composing haikus about how Active Directory worked, or doing interpretive dances on stage in between sessions, that sort of thing. So there's a lot of hard technical content to get through, but it's also really important to take time and have some fun. And it also makes the whole network building exercise a lot more effective. So that's it. Thank you very much for attending. Thanks for letting me speak to you this morning. And who is up next? Darren, are you up next? So let me introduce Darren Morelia. He is the GPO guy, and he has the stage right after me. So thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it.